Wow, Whitney, we've done the Pop and Positivity podcast for a second now. We've had, we've had artists, we've had activists, we've had musicians, but we've never had an athlete. Well, we've had one athlete. We've had
Gold
one
medal.
athlete.
Yeah.
But we have never had a Major League Baseball athlete. So that changes today with the one and only, the former MLB All-Star, Rookie of the Year, Chicago White Sox, and he does a ton with their charities. It is Ron Kittle, everybody.
Woo! The crowd goes wild.
Hi, appreciate it having me on talking about things that I like to do. A lot of charity work.
Oh, that's perfect because that's what we're all about, pop and positivity. Before we get into that, though, huge baseball guy over here. I grew up getting into baseball, obviously playing Little League, but what really turned me into a baseball fan, and I vividly remember I was 11 years old. I was living in my parents made me a basement bedroom because I didn't want to live in split a room with my brother anymore. And they put me down there. I used to fall asleep to WEEI baseball, radio baseball, Red Sox out on the East Coast. That is what turned me into a baseball fan, listening to the sounds of the game and the commentating. What turned you into a fan before you got to playing?
Well, I just like playing. I mean, my dad loved baseball. My dad would have his little radio in his ear, then he'd be watching it on TV, keeping score. And, I couldn't even walk in front of the TV without getting a shoe thrown at me or something. But I'm one of those kids that had nervous energy. So I went outside early in the morning, all the way until the street lights went on. I played baseball. I lost one of the first gloves that he gave me. And that was the last glove I lost because a whooping was included with it. Take care of your stuff. But I just enjoyed playing it. And I was given a chance to, get signed by the Dodgers early on, got injured, broke my neck. I was out of baseball for a few years, got a second chance with the White Sox. And I'd rather play it than watch it. I'm completely honest. And I think 80% of the former baseball players would say the same thing.
Well, did you know at a young age that you had this amazing talent, or was it something that you had to work for and really hone in on those skills?
Well, I used to pick up rocks and hit with a broom handle and hit. I could always
hit your neighbor.
I mean, you could throw a tic tac at me and I can hit at a younger age, and I threw well. You just kind of grow with friends. But when I was younger, I played with the older kids. So you had to learn quickly. You don't catch it, you're going to get knocked in the noggin. Don't let them make fun of you. So you started turning yourself into a little bit better athlete at the time. Baseball was my third sport. It was basketball, football, then baseball. But I wore glasses, and somebody said, you'll never play professional baseball wearing glasses. And that became my mission statement to prove this guy wrong.
I love that. I love that. And coming back from adversity with the glasses. So speaking of your White Sox career, I almost said Red Sox, Freudian slip. Speaking of your White Sox career, back in 1983, everything was going right for you. It was the biggest year for you as a professional. You won Rookie of the Year. The White Sox, was that the year the White Sox went to the playoffs for the first time, right?
Yeah, in a long time. It was 83 was the first time anything happened in Chicago for a long time.
So talk about being in Chicago during that era, because I just envision it being kind of epic with, the city being vibrant and, obviously the White Sox are winning. What was that time like in your life?
Well, I grew up in Gary, Indiana, so as a local boy does good, get a chance to play, get to the big leagues. I had a pretty good following. I mean, my town would bring buses full of people to the ball games. I always tell them every night was Ron Kittle night, but, I just said that jokingly. But, I had great support. I had wonderful teammates, great coaching staff. Tony La Russa was our manager at the time. Jimmy Leland, Davey Nelson, Dave Duncan. I mean, Charlie Lau. We had one of the best coaching staff, but some awesome teammates. And they were all kind of peculiar, including myself. But I tell you what, when the game started, they went out there and they focused and they stayed together for 99 wins that year.
Wow. A lot of wins.
That is so cool. I can imagine Chicago during that time, because like you said, it was the first time Chicago was really, like like happening. And then we had like the Bears and it's like Chicago kind of exploded in that moment. Did y'all ever like hang out like, oh, let's go to the Bears game and then we're all going to hang out for the White Sox game? Like, did y'all ever mix and mingle the two different leagues?
So in 83, the White Sox did good. 84, the Cubs went to the playoffs. 85, the Bears are winning. I had season tickets at both locations, and I never went because, and I would use them for charity. Really, I did. I auctioned them off for charity benefits. But when I sat, I can't sit still. I mean, you got me for 15, 20 minutes here today, and that's about all I can handle. I'm one of those kind of nervous energy people, but I followed them. I can read a box score in any sport and tell you exactly how the game played out. It's just in the back of your head. I'm friends with a lot of the Bears and the Bulls and other teams, but they all know my personality. I'd rather go out there and compete and try to do as good as you possibly can. But I was proud of being in Chicago. I was honored. And as soon as I I drove to the ballpark every day, 100 miles an hour to put that uniform on. And I blew by a lot of cops because I wanted to get to the park. But you just want to go out there and play. I wanted to be the hero every single night. There's not a day I didn't want to win a ball game for the team. But we all know in life, you're a GOAT more than you are a hero, but you still got to go out there and accept that challenge.
I'm loving the energy, and you brought up the charity stuff. I know Whitney's going to talk about that in a second, but before we do, I'm the pop guy. She's the positivity girl. What type of music were you into? Was there a specific sound that takes you back to that era? Because I know the locker rooms now, a lot of guys listen to country. A lot of guys listen to hip hop. So what was it like? Can you go back to that moment? And, because we work at a top 40 radio station, what were you listening to? What hyped you up?
Well, when I was 18, 19 years old and just coming back from an injury, then Eye of the Tiger came out there. So that was kind of your work mantra when you're in the batting cage working out, something to pump you up. I'm not a rap person. If I can't understand the words, I definitely don't listen to it. So I really like all kind of music. I've met many country people. I've met, good Lord, I've sat next to John Mayer. And I kind of liked his music a little bit, but I didn't know who he was. And I was on my phone with my daughter, and she goes, "Dad, John Mayer's next to you." So I go, "Hey, are you John Mayer?" then my daughter's in California saying that I embarrassed her, but she's 2,000 miles away. But I really like all music. When I'm really focused, and I do a lot of custom woodworking, I'm in my shop. I listen to soundtracks with no word, just so the instruments are playing in the background, so I don't get any distractions. I take that pretty serious out there, but heck, I can listen to anything.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah, now I want to go back to the charity stuff because you were doing this in the early days, it sounds like. You've always been a man with a big heart. And so the charity work actually started, it sounds like, from day one when you knew that you had this platform. What was it in the little young Ron Kittle and the young guy? Because not that I'm saying most people don't want to give back, but you've been doing it for a long time. Why was that instilled in you?
Well, I was in Knoxville, Tennessee with the White Sox AA team. And there was a little kid that lived down the street from me, and that's AA. And he was burnt. And I asked him, I'm one of those guys, Whitney, that says, "Hey, you got a booger in your nose or your roots are gray." I'm just telling it as it is. If you don't like it, that's just me. So I took this kid, he said his parents tried to kill him because he had cancer and they were alcoholics. So long story short, it's throughout the summer, I got him a job. I fed him every day, a barbecue place in Knoxville, Tennessee. And when I came back off a long road trip, he hung him better, my big brother. "Thank you for taking care of me." And from that point on, I said, I was 19, 20 years old. I said, I'm going to do something positive to help people with cancer. And I've been doing it since 1989, but it set the seed in 1979 when I was in Knoxville, Tennessee. So, but I didn't talk about it for 15 years. How can you tell somebody that? A little boy hung himself and left you a note. So my heart's in a better place. He's in a better place if his parents didn't like him, but it's kind of easy to give, and it doesn't have to be a big check. I always tell everybody, if I got 1,000 people give me $5, that's $5,000. So, I mean, that's a good start for a lot of people.
That is a really good start. And the White Sox charity, I mean, you have Charity Day coming up. And in case some of our listeners don't know about Charity Day, tell us about Charities Day. So it's not Charity Days, it's Charities Day. So tell us about that.
Well, in 90, the White Sox kind of founded their charity board. Christine O'Reilly, Sarah, we have a tremendous group. Jerry Reinsdorf is probably the most giving owner of any sports team out there. He takes no credit. He does no advertisement whatsoever. So the White Sox, I think since 1990, they've raised about $38 million to give the local charities all the time. I mean, they are constantly spinning their heads to see how they can raise a buck. So it kind of coincides with a lot of the charity work I do. I had a cigar raffle. I wanted Jerry Reinsdorf to come. If he's a vegan, I'd have a vegan event, but he smokes cigars, so you have a cigar event, so, and they do golf tournaments, they do car raffles. I mean, there's nothing that they don't look at about raising money. And they get all their current players and past autograph things that they use for auction items. So it's a wide base. The computer just overpowers everything nowadays. I'm not a computer rock star, but all my friends go, did you see it? I said, I can't look at everything that somebody sends me, but we got a great staff. They're always looking to raise funds. And Charity Days is big. You got your 50-50 raffle at Sox Park. I can't play because I'm an employee, so I can't win. So I tried to go underneath a fake name, but that still doesn't work. But, but all this comes from people's hearts, and they want to give. And they make a great commitment to donate it to certain hospitals and local community chapters that need funding and help. I mean, I can read a script off right here, but it looks like I'm reading a script. I'm not going to do that. That's not my kind of style. So you can even ask them out of curiosity, say, hey, where does these funds go? Then they'll send you a list. But I take wholeheartedly, these are great people doing this work. I'm part of that. We're hosting a golf tournament this year. So I'm always at the park doing something with them. All they got to do is ask. And, not everybody can give, but maybe sometimes you can give your time, and sometimes that's even more important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree, man. I know the White Sox and what everybody does, or what everybody involved with the organization does on the South Side specifically too. It's amazing. I mean, I live on the North Side, and it's funny. It's like the Cubs play their games, and it's a big party. And yes, they do great things too. But when you go to the South Side and you go to that ballpark, it's just like a different vibe. It's more of a family vibe,
Absolutely. Besides having great food and a pretty doggone good team this year, I think it's going to be a great atmosphere. Last year, the whole world was shook up with what was going on. We need to get back on track. We can't be scared. We got to live our lives. You talk about positivity, in the topic of thing. How do you create that with people out there? I mean, there's people still scared about this. I mean, nobody wants to get sick. Nobody wants to die. But I tell you what, it's killing you more not doing anything, just sitting there thinking about it. And those are people I weed out of my life real quick. So, if you're a downer or I call it a turd, you're gone out of my picture.
I love
I think this is the first turd mention we've ever had on the Pop and Top Positivity podcast.
And you know what? I can hear my little kids right now being like, Mom, that's bathroom talk. Like we have a rule in our house, bathroom talk. Yeah. But no, you know what? I went to a Sox game a few weeks ago, and it was so cool because there were families you could tell it was so like all over from all over. You know me, I love to talk. So I was meeting different people, and it was so cute because I saw this young family that had made their way from Indiana to come to the game, and their little kid, it was their first game, and they got to leave with a bat, and it was given to them. And it was so neat to see because it brought so many smiles, and just to see the impact of people getting back together, having a good time in a safe environment, and now enjoying a game, knowing that the team is actually giving a lot of the money back to different organizations around the city is just cool overall.
Yeah, they do a tremendous job. I know a lot of people in other organizations, and Chicago White Sox knocked the socks off other teams by hundreds.
No pun.
And I'm honored. And I mean, I will fight and stick up for them all the time. So they try to be creative. They got good people. I mean, it's not easy begging for money all the time. I mean, you got to get sponsors. You got to do this. And for me, I sit there and, I'll sign baseballs for charities sometimes. I make gift baskets and I donate to different locations because I don't personally have time to go to all these functions. But I'll make something and they can raffle that off. And, and my Jamie, the girl that works with the White Sox, they work on my schedule. So they send me to different locations where they're raising money for certain things. And I show up. Does it mean anything? I make it, when I go there, I make those people feel it's the best thing they've ever done for me. And I've always been like that. I can't help it. I mean, sometimes it's a curse.
You made me feel that way when I was with you.
I want people to feel good, and I'll fade away in life one day knowing that I gave a big piece of my heart away for people to enjoy themselves and to help out.
Yeah, Ron, man, it is an honor talking to you, and you obviously are a straight shooter. So I'm just going to ask you this. What do you love about the game of baseball right now? And what is something you think is absolutely atrocious?
I tell you, my biggest thing is I was shocked he did it, but I was glad Tony La Russa came back in. I mean, honestly, he's one of the smartest men in baseball. He's probably a couple innings ahead of everybody else just because he's old. Hell, I thought he was old when I was 19 and he was 35. I called him as old, but he knows the game of baseball. And I'm not knocking the past managers in there. I just think if Tony wasn't in there with all the injuries that we've succumbed to this early season, this first half, I mean, we could have been 10, 15 games out, but right now we're 8 games up. We got some guys, and these guys that were hurt are getting healthy. I like the enthusiasm. I mean, I'm old school, and everybody said, "Oh, you can't be old school." Hell, I can be anything I want. That's what I look at it. And you learn how to accept things. Somebody asked me, "How do you create confidence?" I said, "Well, I learned that in Yankee Stadium one time. 60,000 people were there, and I struck out 4 times. Now, if that doesn't get you down, but I got to come back the next day and play, and I won a ball game for the team." So that's how you learn how to, battle through things and get a little stronger. But I've always been giving. I mean, the other teams that I played for in my career, they asked me for certain things. I try to help everybody out. And, like I said, it's, if I've ever been rude to somebody, I tell you what, if you've been rude to me, I'm 6'4", 250, you better watch out. But I'll tell them if they're rude, because people are demanding sometimes and they got to watch that. But I'll give you everything I got if you ask.
Well, and before we let you go, because I know I love that you just claim yourself as being high energy. I don't know anybody else like that doesn't like to sit still for too long. But before we let you go, what do you want your legacy to be? That is our number one question here on the podcast. And I'm curious what it is for you.
A nice guy. I don't ask for much in life. I made a comment on social media, Facebook the other day, and you probably read it with my bubblegum card, which I probably can't say it. I was asked some questions, and I just said badass, was my answer to the to the lady. But I just want to say he did good. He gave back. That's what we asked for, and I'm pretty happy for it.
Wow. Great answer. And Ron, we'll see you throughout the White Sox all year long. And what's a prediction? What do we got? What do you think?
I tell you what, I want to see him get stronger, win some ball games. And, I haven't been to the park all last year. So I'm starting now after the All-Star break. So I'll be making some appearances. I'm excited to see my friends from the catering service, Levy, White Sox office, everything. I really miss those people. But because when I walk into the ballpark, I scream and shout in there. I wake them up. You got to wake them up. You got to be working hard, and
Ron Kittle's coming, everybody.
Oh no, that's exactly how I sound when I go in the park.
Man, bring this guy onto the radio station. I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, awesome. Appreciate it, and go White Sox. And charity work is awesome.
Thanks, Ron.